I'd like you to try both of these review problems on your own before we go on to today's work. They're good review. I am going to give you a hint on both of them before I set you loose though. So look at 2x minus 3 squared. You're asked to simplify. Remember that squaring is not something that we distribute. Squaring means to multiply something by itself. And then my hint for the second problem is that you should remember always to start by looking for a GCF. Sometimes you can factor more, sometimes you can't, but always start by factoring out a GCF. Push pause and try the first two problems on your own. When you're done both, then push play again so that you can check your work against mine. If you need to, go ahead and push pause so that you have time to check through all your work now that you can see what my steps are. And I'm going to go on to the next problem. So next we're going to do some more practicing by splitting the middle term. We have 6x squared minus 11x minus 7. We need to solve the puzzle. So what multiplies to make negative 42 and adds to make negative 11? Now notice I went straight to the puzzle. When I saw an 11 and a 7, which are both prime numbers, I knew there wouldn't be a GCF that we could take out of everything. All right, I want you to try this one. We've done a lot of factoring practice. Push pause, try the problem, and then push play when you're ready to compare work. Take a moment to compare your steps to mine. Notice this was one of those problems where it took me a few tries to come up with the right pair of numbers for splitting the middle term. It's okay, sometimes that happens. You just have to be patient and keep track of the things that you've tried. When you're ready, go on to the next problem. Okay, what do you notice? I see a 12a squared, a 2a, and a negative 24. Yep, they have a GCF of 2. So before we do anything else, we're going to take out a 2. So I've got 6a squared plus a minus 12. And now I'm ready to start looking at that puzzle. I've got to figure out what multiplies to make negative 72 and adds to make 1. Now, at first glance, when you see 72, you should be like, whoa, there's a lot of numbers that multiply to make 72. But they've got to add to make 1, so they've got to be very, very close together. And probably the first two things you ever learned that would multiply to make 72 were 9 and 8. So think about the fact that you want to end up with a positive. You must want a positive 9 and a negative 8, and that'll satisfy both requirements. So we have the 2 on the outside of the brackets, and we're going to split. So we have 6a squared plus 9a minus 8a minus 12. We're going to make that into a sum of binomials and look for the GCFs of each term. So we have 6a squared and 9a, which have a 3a in common and need to be multiplied by 2a and 3 respectively. So we've got the 2 on the outside of the bracket, and inside we've factored out a 3a, leaving 2a plus 3 behind. Then we look at negative 8a and negative 12. Those have a negative 4 in common, leaving an 2a and a 3 as what we need to multiply by. So we're going to factor out that negative 4 and leave a 2a plus 3 in the parentheses. So 2 multiplies the common binomial of 2a plus 3 times 3a minus 4. And there's our answer. There are 2 problems left on this sheet. I'm going to get you started with your puzzles for what to solve and then ask you to finish the 2 problems as your homework tonight. So we're looking for 2 numbers that multiply to make negative 35 and add to make negative 2. And then for the second problem, we're looking for 2 numbers that multiply to make negative 48 and add to make 13. Complete those 2 problems and then upload your work into the Google Classroom to receive credit for today's work.